Hello, welcome back. I am super excited today because I have a really special guest. Her name is Quavi, and she is your favorite life coach for women over 50. And she is filled with so much wisdom, and I love her vibe. And right away, I heard her originally on a podcast that I was listening to. She was a guest, and I was drawn into her energy right away. First of all, she's positive and upbeat and also so smart, right? The what she shares with you is it's gonna make a big impact and hopefully be life-changing for you as I know the work that she does with her clients. So Quavi, thank you so much for being
Hi.
here.
Thank you for, inviting me to spend time with you and share my message with your audience.
Yes. So I would love to just kick it off and could you introduce yourself and tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about who you help and how did you come to this work? How did you come to being your favorite life coach for women over
Okay.
50?
All right. So my name is Quavi. I'm a life coach for women 50 and over. And my goal is really to help women rediscover their purpose and passion. About maybe 4 years ago, I did a series of interviews with women, and I was really interviewing them because they were already in their 50s. So I was interviewing them to just kind of get some perspective on what life was going to be like, and they can give me some advice. And I was disappointed because 80% of the women I interviewed described themselves as invisible. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like, hold up. You have done all these amazing things. You have all this experience, and now's the time for you to share your wisdom, and you feel invisible. And so it was at that point, because up until that point, I was doing weight loss coaching for women 40 and over. And it was at that point, something just struck me. And I was like, you know what, Quavi, you are changing your niche. And I changed it to just encompass the different areas that a woman 50 and over will go through, because I wanted to help them thrive and shine. I'm like, this is their magic moment. This is the moment for them to just be out there and just living their best life. And they're thinking they're invisible. So I was like, no, I am going to be, that person that helps women to kind of get a glimpse of like the possibilities of life. I'm like, I just tell them like, just see, just look. These are the amazing things that are available to you. You just have to choose and decide that that's what you want for yourself. And so, yeah, so that's how I kind of started doing this work. And I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yes, well, the fact that came to this realization when the women over 50 are feeling invisible, it's so true that there's so much potential and so much possibility
Oh,
for
my
this
word.
age group. And if they're feeling
Yes.
invisible, that we all miss out on that.
That's it. That's the thing. That's what I keep telling them. Like, do you realize you have something special to share with the world? And they're missing out on it. And you are missing out from even sharing it. It's like that, and that feeling is priceless, but you're not even letting yourself even step into that.
Yes. And so much of the work that you do, and so much of the work that what I do, what I'm hearing from you is
Yes.
about stepping into that, but stepping into yourself. Really.
Yes. Yes. And you get to decide what that is for you. No one else. Like society sometimes wants to put women over 50 into a box. I'm like, no, no. The over 50 woman doesn't fit in a one size fits all. We are different in so many ways. So many ways.
Yes, our work is so aligned because you're talking about the box that people want to put the people want to put the women over 50 in. And the way I see it,
Yes.
that's how I feel about trends with clothing and with
Yes. Yeah.
fashion. We make our own trends. We do our own thing.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And when
Yes.
we have that self-awareness about who we are and how we want to feel and how we want to show up, those trends are
Yes.
rocking, right?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I believe that wholeheartedly. It's like I had a post recently where I talked about that. You know what? Society wants to kind of define us by a certain way, but guess what? We are showing up and redefining. Like one of the words that I kind of hear a lot of, and that I'm like, oh, can they stop using that word? Is anti-aging. Think about antibacterial. What does that do? That prevents, it's like you're preventing someone from aging. No, we are ready to age, and we age in so many different ways. Some people want to wear their gray hair. Some people want to dye their hair. Listen, you get to do you, but it's important that you embrace that. And part of that is just being you.
That's part of it being you, yes. And once we can fully be who we are and
Oh,
accept who we are, it feels so
yes.
much more free
Oh my goodness.
because it's a
Yes.
it's a burden to carry all of those expectations, to
Yes.
carry around what other people, what media, fashion industry, all those
Oh
sitting
my
on our
word.
shoulders,
It's exhausting, basically. It is. And so once you let go of all those labels and decide to step into who you are, it's like a freedom. You're like, oh my word, this is amazing. And don't get me wrong, there's still challenges, but there is a freedom that comes with being who you're really meant to be.
and when you are who you really meant to be, that's when the magic happens.
Oh my goodness.
That's when things get easier.
Yes. But we don't realize that. We think, no, we have to be this way or that way. Like, no, no, no. Just be you. And like, what will people say? People will talk anyway. That's the thing, regardless.
So it's coming to this place of self-acceptance,
Oh
and
my word.
and we
Yes.
have and we have a lot of work to do in that area. I see that
Yes.
with women and their style, specifically in relation to their body, and I'm
Yes.
sure you have a lot of
Oh,
experience with this
yes.
as well. So what would
Yeah.
you say to, like, what would you say to somebody who is really struggling with accepting her age, her body, and where she's at right now?
Okay. So one of the things I do when I work with my clients, I let them know it's not an either or. I'm like, you can be grateful for your body for where it is now and still take steps to improve it if you want to. It's like it's not an either or. And I think sometimes we feel, oh, I want to do this. And then you just kind of disregard your body as it is now. I think we all need to take time and be grateful for what our body has. I mean, think about it. Your body has brought you to this point right now, regardless of whether you're happy with the way it looks or you're not at your goal weight or whatever it is that, that you're not happy with. But in that, in being grateful for that, you can also decide, okay, I'm going to take steps because I want to lose weight, I want to get more toned, or whatever it is that you want to do. You can do that. You can do both, and it's okay. But I think until we decide to be grateful and appreciate where we are, it's almost like we're chasing. We're constantly chasing something out there. And it's not sustainable until we accept and appreciate who we are right now.
And the struggle is real,
It
because it's,
is.
new
It
level,
is.
new devil. You reach a level of, say, you've lost some weight recently, and so you feel really excited and proud about that, but then there's always going to be something else that's going to come up for you.
Yeah,
So just really accepting where you are right now and finding the
right
gratitude
now.
for that.
Oh my goodness, you have to. It's just, and that's where the self-love comes in. It's like loving yourself where you are right now. I mean, it's so key. And it seems so simple, but the thing is, it is simple. It's just that we overthink it. I mean, think about all the people around you that you love. You do things for them, right? You protect them, you take care of them, you do things for them even when you don't want to. That is how we need to view ourselves. It's like even those times when we're like, oh, do I really have to work out, or do I really have to make those choices? Think about doing the things for you, even when you don't want to, and they're hard, because you know that your future self will be proud of you. Really, because the decisions we make today affect our future self. And listen, we live in a society now that we're probably going to be living for the next 20, 30 years easily. And so, what are the decisions that you're going to make today that will benefit you in the future?
Yes. And what you were saying about, how we treat others, to do that for ourselves. I love to take that even, I love to refine that even more. And I use this with my clients in relationship to their body with clothing. When you're with your family and your friends, you want them to feel good. You want to compliment them. So why can't we do the same thing with our bodies using our
Yes.
clothes? Why can't we compliment our body? Being in a healthy relationship with our body is going to take you so many places.
Oh my word. Yes, it will. I mean, that relationship is key. It's like how and also stepping into how do you want to feel about yourself? Like asking yourself those questions like what kind of relationship do you want to have with you? That's the most important relationship ever. And so how do you want to show up for you?
Yeah. And what I notice with a lot of women is that, especially in midlife, is that they've lost touch with that. They've lost touch with themselves.
Yeah,
And so it's a process of rediscovery.
it
So
is.
So for me, that shows, I see that showing up in how they're dressing and what they're wearing. They're still wearing clothes from their old roles, right? So maybe they used to work in corporate and they're, trying to dress for that, or sometimes they don't even know what to wear and they have this feeling of being
Yeah.
lost. So
Yeah.
with the women who you work with, how does that show up? What are the symptoms that they really
Yeah.
lost touch with themselves? They're not accepting themselves. How do you see that in the women?
So a lot of the women, when they come to me, for instance, some of them will say, they look in the mirror and they don't even know who they are anymore. It's like they feel like that is not who they are. And they feel like they've lost themselves. And this can kind of happen if, for instance, you've done, maybe you have kids, you've kind of done a lot of stuff with them, and all of a sudden they've left the home. So you no longer do that. At this age too, it's not uncommon for divorces. There's a high rate of divorces at this age. So all of a sudden you are probably married, all of a sudden you're single. And so you just find yourself in a different phase of life. With that too, we have menopause too. Our bodies are changing. So many things are going on. And so you find yourself in this phase where you're like, who am I? It's like you're trying to grapple with that. And so what I always ask them is like, who do you want to be? Because that's the true question. It's like, regardless of your relationship with if you have a spouse or yourself and your kids, career, all of that, like, who do you want to be? Because your worthiness, it's really dependent on who you show up as. Really, it's not really, and your worthiness is always intact, because I know sometimes for women, we kind of do all these different things thinking, okay, this will make me better, or now I'm enough because I've done this. No, you're enough regardless. So the question is, how do you want to show up? How do you want this next chapter of your life to look like? Because you get to decide that. It's like, you get to decide how it looks like. It's all up to you. And letting women realize that it's okay if people are not happy with the decisions that you make. It's okay. It really is.
That question of who do you want to be and how do you want to show up, that can feel
Yeah.
really daunting and intimidating to a
Yeah.
lot of people who have really
Yeah.
lost touch with who they
Yes.
are right now. So when you look in the future and let's say it's wide open for you to be or
Yes.
do whatever you want, it can feel a little scary. Do you have any advice on
Yes.
how to make that feel more manageable?
I say take one step at a time. It's not like you don't have to do all of it. It's kind of like, because I used to do weight loss for clients for a long time. And, sometimes they want to do all the things. I'm like, no, we're doing one step at a time. I even tell my clients in the beginning, you don't have to exercise when you start with me. I don't want you even doing that, because that can be overwhelming when you're trying to figure out what works for you with regards to food. And you're also trying to do the exercise. Let's do it one step at a time. And I'll tell them, okay, so let's look at like the next few months. Like, how do you want to show up? Like, what is it that you want for yourself? Do you want to tackle relationship? Do you want to tackle who you are? Because for a lot of women, they get to the stage and the confidence level just drops. Like, is that something that you want to work on first? We'll do that. But I'll say one area that I love to work on first for a lot of women, if they're open to it, is the self-love aspect. And the reason why I like to focus on that first is I kind of look at self-love as a foundation. It's kind of like when you're building a house, you have to have a rock solid foundation, or else the house crumbles. Self-love to me is like the foundation for who you are, regardless of how you want to show up, what you want to do, whether it's career, relationship, health, any of that. If you have self-love, I'm telling you, you can conquer so many things. Like, that is like your foundation that is rock solid.
Yeah. So really just focusing on one area, and for your recommendation, that would be
Oh,
self-love. And it really
yes.
just all starts from that
It
place, because
starts
what can
from
you
there.
create from there?
Oh my goodness. Tell me about it. And I tell my clients all the time, think about what you can create from self-love. Like, when you're all in for yourself, like when you bet on yourself, when you decide, you know what, I'm just going to focus on me and really do that, what you can create is just, amazing.
And
Amazing.
you are such an example of that, Quavi, because I know that you just did a Miss Georgia. I don't. Please explain your Miss Georgia
Okay.
experience, because that
All
is a
right.
perfect example of when you have self love and you create from that
Yes,
space and set your
that's
own
it.
reality.
That's it. And that's what I did. So before I did this, like when I was 16, so I'm 53 right now. So when I was 16, I had wanted to do a pageant, but I didn't do it. I kind of just said, oh, I won't do it. But the thought would keep coming up, and so and then I saw this ad for the pageant. I thought, that might be kind of fun to do. And in doing so, and so I'm a researcher. I love to research stuff. So I was like, okay, let me just go research, the history of pageants and all of that. And what I did find out was typically people who participate in pageants are young. So I'm like, okay, I'm not young. All right, that's fine. Typically, people who participate in pageants are white. I'm like, okay, clearly that's not me. And then I also looked and I said, a lot of them have long hair. So I'm like, that's not me either. And I thought to myself, this is a even more reason why I need to do this. I'm like, I could just do this because I can. And I also wanted to be an example for women. And I say this in the sense that pageants might not be for you, but there might be a goal of yours that you want to go after. And you're thinking, okay, the people that are doing it don't look like me, or the people that are doing it are much younger, or whatever the reason is. But I just want to let you know that, yes, you can. And now that I've won this particular title, now I'm going to Florida to do nationals. So I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, so you're basically taking this idea that the odds are stacked up against you because the women are all young, they're white, and they have long hair, none of which you are. So the odds are stacked against you, and you're like, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to.
Yeah, and it really is, because sometimes because really, they didn't say that you can't do it because of this. It's just the perception, right? It's just only in your head. And so sometimes we take ourselves out of the game by our thoughts constantly. And so I just want to encourage women, like, listen, first of all, if you're over 50, you're a superhero, whether you want to realize it or not. You have skills that most women younger do not have. And so that gives you an edge. And, just go for it. Whatever that goal is, use your experience and your wisdom to go forward.
Experience and wisdom. Yes, that is such a beautiful thing. That is what midlife women, that is what we have.
We all have that, regardless of where you've been, what you've been through. You have experience and you have wisdom, and it's priceless.
Yes, Quavi, what you have shared with us today is priceless. I want to thank you so much for your time, for your beautiful spirit and energy. And I know that the women who listen to this or to watch us, they are going to want to know, how do I find out more about Quavi? I know you've got a book, you've got retreats, you've got all sorts of things that you're offering. So please tell us how women can find you.
Oh, thank you. So you can find me on my website. My website is www.quavi, and that's spelled KWAV as in Victor I.com. I also offer retreats, but if you go to my website, you'll also see a section on retreats there. I also just released a book called 50 Questions to Answer When You Reach 50, a guide to help women thrive and shine in their 50s and beyond. You can also find that online, Amazon, Target, and Barnes & Noble online. Yes. And I'm on Instagram. Sorry.
No, please.
So I'm on Instagram. You can find me at Quavi, KWAVI_TV. And I'm on TikTok. You can find me there at Quavi, KWAV as in Victor I_TV.
I love it. You are out there. You are available. Everyone can go find you in multiple places. So whatever works for them. Quavi, you are such a beautiful example of what's possible. You are such an inspiration. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful for you. And so everybody, that is Quavi. Isn't she the best? So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate this. I mean, and just giving me this platform to speak with your audience, I truly appreciate it.
Yes, well, I'm so grateful for you. So, all right, everybody, thanks for watching. I'll be back with another video soon. Bye.
Bye.